The
illustrious Jabba bids you welcome. I'm going to regret this.
I'm Pete Mitchell. He's Peyton Jones. And this is the Church Planter Podcast, brought to you by Church Planter Magazine.
Say my name.
Hey, Church Planter! This is episode 200!
Woo! Yay!
We made you wait a whole extra day for this goodness.
We did.
The Church Planter Podcast isn't the podcast that planners deserve, but the podcast they need.
You know, I must say that we need to thank all of our friends who have decided to give us mad props on episode 200, like our good friend Frank Viola.
Hi, this is Frank Viola from BeyondEvangelical.com, and you're listening to one of the most entertaining podcasts on the web today, the Church Planter Podcast with Peyton Jones and Pete Mitchell.
He just need to put he need to put a little bit more energy in it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to throw that out there.
Yeah, but it was sincere. He meant that from his heart.
And of course, we can't forget our Calvary Chapel friends, Brian Broderson.
I'm Brian Broderson. You've been listening to Pete and Peyton, two guys that definitely need surf lessons.
And of course, our favorite.
Get to the church plant! Get to the church plant! Go! No!
Hey, that was both canned laughter and real laughter.
I think we just need to tell everyone, if this is your first time listening to the Church Planter Podcast, you're not going to find any value in episode 200 because we're not actually sharing anything about church planting. It's all about our favorite moments over the last 200 episodes.
Pretty much this is an episode about the 200th episode and all of the other episodes.
Is that what I'm calling it?
Which it's the episode about the 199 other episodes.
You know, I'm just glad to say that there are some people out there who agree with Pete.
I have to agree with Pete.
But that happened probably, before the 50th episode that someone agreed with you, and it hasn't happened since.
What? That's probably true. I think this is also going to be the all sound effects episode, so,
Well, not only that, I got a jackhammer in the background here. That was my extra special celebration for today. Hey, man, could we have a jackhammer running in the background the whole time?
I could go so many different directions with that, all of which would be inappropriate. So I think we need to hear from our good sponsors, Hollywood.
California, stay away from here. Stay away from here now. Don't come in here. Whatever you hear, stay away. John Doe has the upper hand.
Oh, what's in the box?
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty much our warning about our own podcast. California, stay awake. So it's been 199 episodes, Pete. Aren't you sick of me yet?
Yeah, that's why we're actually late on this one, getting it out. Normally we release on Monday. We're not even recording and it's Tuesday. So,
Yeah, pretty much. And so, Pete, let's go ahead and look back through the corridors of time, reminisce, get a little nostalgic, get a little bit misty, a little weepy-eyed, and talk over these 199 episodes and what has been special to you.
I think for me, the thing that I've appreciated the most would have to be when Hulk Hogan gave us that great sound clip for our podcast.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. Now that it's that part of the show where we talk smack, what you gonna do when the Church Planter Podcast runs wild on you?
Man, we have had some good ones. How about Yoda? I mean, is Yoda going to make an appearance on this? We can't forget the sponsorship that Yoda's done.
Welcome, you are. This week's episode of the Church Planter Podcast is brought to you by
MoGive.
MOGIV for the 200th time.
No, they weren't sponsors of all 200.
For the 168th time, which I just made up.
They probably were somewhere around there. I mean,
168.com.
They've been riding shotgun with this for a long time, and when we have bad episodes, unfortunately, people take it out on them and cancel their MoGive service. So
they do. And why does it feel, although we've only been doing them less than 200? I mean, it's safe to say we've been doing their commercial less than 200 times, but it feels like 300, Pete.
We had to get our listenership up from 1 listener a week to 10
for them to sponsor us.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what it took because, moms, she always listened, and they said that wasn't enough.
You know what's funny is I don't actually know how many listeners we have. And so I'll be going to I'll talk to guys and I know it's pretty good. Like we always joke around about our 1 listener, but it's pretty good. And so I was at Exponential and I'm talking to all these guys and they're like, well, how much is your listenership? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, because
which is never good when people are like, hey, I might want to sponsor you guys' show. How many people listen? I'm like, you got to talk to my partner, man. I don't pay attention to any of that.
You should just say, you know what? We actually put Exponential to shame. And that would actually be a safe statement.
Hey, I got to say, Exponential was awesome this year.
Was it?
I went to it. Hey, for all those of you guys that I finally got to meet face to face, it was fantastic. I honestly have to say we're on 200th episode. And there are times, I know Pete and I have talked about this before, we have fun. We love doing it. We love screwing around, if that's not obvious. But, there is the part of it where, we felt called to do this. We felt like we needed to do something for the kingdom. We definitely wanted to help church planners. Like I'll have guys ask me all the time about New Breed. And they'll say, why did you start New Breed church planting? Someone asked me this week, what do you want New Breed to be? And that's always kind of been a question that's difficult to ask because the simple answer has always been, I want to help church planners. And this show is the same. New Breed, other people are taking it, running forward with it now, especially as I'm doing other things. But the reality is that, from time to time, I just come to a point and I say, do I want to do this anymore? And so many of you guys came up and said, I cannot tell you how much you've changed my life, how much you've helped me. Thank you so much for what you and Pete do. And I kept telling people,
let's be fair. They didn't say what you and Pete do. They said what you do.
No, they said me and Pete.
Come on.
No, honestly, I'm not trying to make you feel good.
No one's ever said that to me. They always say, boy, that Peyton guy sure is good.
I think we're coming into our own. I think we've gotten rid of all the grumpy listeners. I think we actually have happy listeners now. But here's the deal, right? Like literally, you guys, those of you that said that, I think I got to the point, because there was a point, no joke now, when I got to Exponential on the first day, I was trying to walk from one end to the other to Exponential. And I'm not saying I'm mad famous or anything, but I couldn't walk 2 steps without somebody going, hey, Peyton, boom, boom, boom. And here's what I have to say. I started getting to the point where I had to tell everybody, because I was so moved, look, you have no idea how much that means, because on a regular basis, I evaluate everything I do. And I ask, is this something I need to do? And I just feel we're 200th episode. Guys, honestly, we're going to keep doing this, because if that many of you are listening and saying that it's helping you, that's all I need to hear, because that is my motivation for everything I do. I know Pete the same. We're not in this for money. We don't make money on it.
You made my decision easy. I'm done. This is my final episode. 200. I'm out.
All right.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Pete felt the motion right then. Little stirring. It's kind of like the Grinch. His heart just grew 2 sizes bigger. And
I don't like to be forced into anything.
With that. I'm going to my safe place.
You can't make me do anything I don't want to do.
You're not the boss of me.
Calm
Wait, Jesus.
down, diddly 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 diddly. They did their best, shoddily iddly iddly diddly. Gotta be nice, hostility diddly biddly diddly. Ah, hell, diddly ding dong crap!
I think my goal is to see if I can play every soundbite on this episode.
That's part of the game, but the game within the game is to make it fit the context of what we're saying. Now that would really be an accomplishment.
Can we do like the Christian version of a drinking game? You know how like in college you wouldn't know this, I'm sure, but every time a certain thing came on a show, you had to drink a shot or something like that. I think every time Pete plays a soundbite, you have to read a Bible verse. That's the Christian version.
I actually saw that somebody was advertising making a drinking game out of the debate.
Oh no.
That when he says this, or he does this, boom. And they were like, this is the only way it's going to be bearable to watch. But I sent you a clip. Did you watch that one with the duet?
Yeah.
Ahead. They take Trump and they take Hillary and they do the I had the time of my life. Oh, it's a fun. I don't even know what that song's called, but it's a famous duet. They had all the cheering in the background. Fantastic. Comedic gold.
I was just saying before we started this episode that I wanted to do an all politics episode. Just because I've had so many fun conversations online on Facebook.
Man, I have stayed out of it.
I haven't. It's like finally with the whole Trump sexual assault stuff, I was like, come on, you can't really still be in favor of this guy, can you? Really?
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, if what he said is true that he did that, now they both belong in jail. I mean, they're both different kind of criminals, but they're both criminals.
Oh,
this is crazy.
That's why it's like, I look at this. Oh, and then there was the best. I think his name is Joel Barker, church planner online. He put up this thing. He put up this thing this morning talking about, I grew up in a pre-trib family, and I see Russia, and with Trump's ties to Russia, have any of the pre-tribbers actually thought how all this is going to play out or something like that? And so I just put on there, I go, well, since pre-trib isn't exactly biblical, I found other reasons not to stump for Trump. and then it was so funny because then it was like a bunch of other people were like, well, I'm not a pre-tribber either, so I'm not buying into the, but it was pretty funny.
Pete, you ginger-haired troll.
I know. Dude, I was so good for so long, and then it was just like the last 2 weeks I couldn't contain myself anymore, and I just
Hulk smash.
That's kind of the way I felt. I was just like, and I'm so because I have unfollowed so many people this election cycle. I just couldn't take their Facebook posts, and then I'm like, I wonder how many people just unfollowed me after all of that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because unlike you, I don't have, the bulk of my base being church planners following me. I got all kinds of real estate agents and business people and stuff like that. So
yeah, you walk a funny line, man, because I know we've talked before. When your two worlds collide, that can get a little uncomfortable.
It could, but then I kind of look at it and I go, do I really care? No.
No, not really.
Oh, what? You're going to be offended and leave me as a client? There's the door.
Yeah,
there's 100
not
more
that
where
way,
you came
but
from.
I think because you're like I've seen you do your stuff on stage at your thing. I remember watching a video clip, and I'm like, Pete's pretty good at this, man. Like, you're up there, you got the suit on, the whole, and you're with everyone. They all got suits on. Like, you're a suit, man, in a room full in a sea of suits. And then you get on here, and I know you're funny when you're doing your thing, but you're also serious. So it's like, here, I'm just thinking today, especially of all the crud we've talked about. And yeah.
What's been your favorite moment on the podcast? Or do you have a series
so,
do you have like a top 5, top 10? What?
Yeah, I do. So absolutely my absolute favorite, and we mention all the time, probably because it is my favorite, was the Blast Book giveaway. Hunting the dude down just on a whim right there live on the call, hunting him down, interrupting his deer hunt and telling him he won and like ruining his day. That was my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. That was what episode was that? Do you remember? I just remember it was Winter Chicken Dinner. It was that episode. I don't know what number it was, but
yeah, no, that one was good. What's yours, man? We'll go back and forth because I got more.
Gosh, man, that's a tough question. I think, man, I have no idea. Honestly, I can barely remember what we've done because let's be frank, you do most of the talking. I pretty much just sit here and not. I play the Ed McMahon. Oh, hey, yeah, that's a great one, Peyton Jones. Way to go.
That's so good.
It's true though. It's like, what do I contribute to the podcast? I'm like,
that's so not true though, because the conversation back and forth is good. Okay, we get into the church planning. You it is a little bit Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. Then it's like you clam up. I mean, you've been in Refuge Long Beach. I mean, that's like a freaking PhD in church planning.
Yeah, but I always got to sit on the sidelines and watch the rest of you guys just kind of go at it. Hey, you know what? I don't know what my favorite episode was, but I can tell you what I'd like to do for an episode.
What's that?
I would like to do one on the end times.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would be fun. Except neither one of us are pre-tribbers, so we need to get like a Chris Langham in here to take the pre-trib.
It would be cool to get a discussion. I'm kind of like a pan-tribber. I've been back and forth over the years. I'm undecided. I still have to say I'm undecided. I listen to guys and I listen to what they have to say, but I honestly think it's a get ready, just be ready type of deal.
I think that's why it's said the way that it's said.
I think so, because I'm not stupid. I mean, I've probably held every major view on the end times that there is and read tons of books on it. And I got to a point where after reading, I'm like, okay, none of you knows what's going on. There are the seven thunders. Hey, I'll save all this for another one, but there's a reason that God goes, hey, seven thunders. I'll tell you about the seven bowls, the seven vials, the seven plagues, but you're not going to know what the seven thunders are. And the angel just goes, hush, that's not for now. That'll be revealed in time. So Revelation kind of lets you know that, hey, you're not going to know everything off the bat. And I'm cool with that.
And that's if you believe Revelation is about the end times. See, that's like where the discussion can go. It's
yeah.
great.
I've been a full, so those of you who don't, we need to save all this, but I've been a full preterist. I've been a partial preterist. I've been a futurist. I've been a historicist. This rabbit hole goes way deeper. And Pete, why'd you open Pandora's box?
Best line I ever heard that I have quoted so many times was a line from you. And the line was, if God really wanted us to know about the end times, he wouldn't have given us a revelation. He would have given us an epistle.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
he wouldn't have given us post-apocalyptic literature. I noticed I said post-apocalyptic instead of apocalyptic because I want to wield the shotgun when it all goes down. That's all I'm saying. And have a fast car. I think it'd be good to kind of go back and just look at some of our titles. I'm on here. There's the one about who we are and why you should care. That was number one.
Yeah, and it was all about me. That was the Pete
number
episode.
2 was about me. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, now in fairness, you got talking so much. Whole episode was about you. Why do you think I don't let you talk? It was supposed to be about us.
I know. But
let me
come on.
talk about me.
But come on, you've paid me back for that 200-fold.
For 199 episodes. So number 2 was the one with Peyton's first church plant in a Starbucks. I think I told my story there. Gosh, check this out. Like, it's really cool. I haven't looked at this in probably 2 years. Number 3 was the one about the 5 roles in Ephesians. So we went straight from who we are straight into like Church Zero, man. That's cool. And that was July 1st, 2013.
I'm sure you were like, hey, can we promote my book?
I'm sure I was. Yeah. And then fourth one, we did a sermon on the. I didn't even know that was on there. Peyton's sermon on the Great Commission. That's cool. That was one where I think I went to the missions thing at the mothership and spoke, and you're like, that was the best sermon I ever heard you give. Let's put that on there.
Well,
remember?
I do remember at one point you were like, it was like right after we started, like the 4th episode, and you're like, I can't do it this week. Can you have Chris Lingham on? Like, we had just started and you were already bailing.
Yeah, I was up in Oregon, which is funny because
okay, yeah.
I was, yeah. I went up to Oregon with Dave Thompson, and you know what? Yeah, no, it's out of order. So I don't know. I think I was on vacation that next week. Because normally when I go up to Oregon, I do 1 week work and then 1 week vacation. So that's cool, man. Then the next one was the one where Pete turns down $300 million.
You know, it's funny. I think about that one all the time. One, because I turned it down, and two, because I actually look at that guy and I'm really glad I made that decision. Like,
yeah,
as I see that guy and, you know, we're Facebook friends and whatnot, I'm like, man, I made a good call there. That was a wise decision on my part.
Yeah, and there's a good takeaway for church planners, you know, never, ever, guys, ever make a decision based on money. And you will never, ever regret it. And I'm saying that because if there's a reason you're not taking it, despite the money being good, that's a wise move. You need to listen to that. I've never made a decision based on finances. I think I've made one decision in the last like 15 years. Actually worked out well for me financially. But other than that, like, that just was never, I knew I would not be happy if I made all my decisions based on money. That doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
I feel more cagey and more owned the more I make decisions based on money, because somewhere when you make decisions on finances, you're giving up a certain amount of freedom. Always.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if you say, oh, I'm going to be a partner in this business or whatever, you're going to give up. I had a church planner approach me this week and he said, hey, I have an opportunity to go in at a ground level with this company. They're a startup. And I said, whoa. You're a church planner and you want to do a startup? And he goes, yeah. And I go, do you know how much time a startup takes? And do you know that when success comes, it just gets worse? And like, are you sure they like 2 startups at the same time? And he goes, huh? And I said, man, and then I told him about, you know, the formula, maximum exposure, maximum pay, minimum hours. That's a sweet spot for a church planner. So yeah, man, that's a very relevant deal.
Yeah. 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 I don't know, man. I don't know. It was funny because I was talking with Daniel Williams a few months ago. He's a church planner out of Florida. Is he in Delray, Florida? Is that where he's at?
Yeah. Yeah. Delray.
And because I was doing the church planner consulting course, teaching them how to be consultants and stuff and using that as a way to generate income. And so one of the things that I told everyone who was doing that, you know, I said, look, we're going to have a talk on the phone, and this isn't a sales call. In fact, I had a good friend. He's like, hey, can you give me a shot at going after those guys who didn't end up joining the course? And I go, no. And he goes, why? And I go, because I wasn't trying to sell them. I was like literally trying to see, is this the right decision for you? Is this the right course for you to take? Because it's not free and it's going to take a lot of time and stuff. And so I was talking to Daniel Williams because he was contemplating it. And I said, you know, 2 of my biggest prayers, one of them is that I don't take a church planner's eyes off the ball. Like, because this is the stuff that I do, and I love this stuff. I love doing what I do. But I also know how it can take your eye off the ball, because you could become wrapped up in the financial side, because it is very lucrative. And Daniel Williams said something really key. He goes, you know what, though? If they take their eye off the ball, then there was already something there. Like they already were like, you know, willing to take their eye off the ball. And I got to tell you, man, that I remember that made a huge impact on me. And it was funny too, because then he calls me back like the week later and he goes, hey, you know what? I prayed about it And I just felt like God said, this isn't the right thing for you. And to me, I was like, dude, I'm totally 100% cool with that, because that's what I wanted to make sure, is that it was the right guys who were coming into that program. So,
you know, it's really funny. Daniel is an impressive dude. He was on our podcast. I got so many comments about it, because when you talk to Daniel, you just get a sense there's a dude that walks with the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
You know, he is in the presence of the Holy Spirit. He's filled with the Spirit. He's walking in the presence of God. Christ is set apart as Lord in his heart, and that really comes across. And he's funny. He's natural. You know, guys, one of the things that always gets me, and it's weird, like this idea that there's this weirdness in sometimes Christianity where we think that in order to be holy, you have to lose your sense of humor. We did a whole episode on that, talked about all the guys throughout history, some of the church planners, some of the pastors, guys like Spurgeon, who had amazing senses of humor, and yet they were totally anointed. And Daniel's kind of that type of dude, but you just sense this guy really walks with God. And I got a lot of comments about that. So you can actually hear, I mean, that's just typical of Daniel. You know, he's a guy who really waits on God, really listens to God. And this podcast, I'm just saying, there might be a connection. And
he probably quit a long time ago. He'll
just
never hear
teasing.
this.
Do you got a lightning bolt sound effect there, Pete?
I don't. Sorry.
That's a one, a spicy meatball.
Here we go.
That
Here we
could
go.
be one. Oh, and you need Salacious Crumb, right? You got he's on
I don't
the
have Salacious Crumb.
Yeah, which is weird because he's in the. I think I had Barry make the Star Wars intro, right?
Oh yeah, that was not me. That's for sure.
So he must have that. We need that sound clip, man. I was just listening to all the sound clips that I got you from Nacho Libre. Those really need to surface.
I don't have them in my soundboard.
Come on,
you give them to me at like the wrong moments.
I know. I gave you like 300 of them.
And that's clearly, I've got better things to do with my life than put 300 of them in there.
It's like living in medieval times, having a dragon on the hill outside your castle and keep pushing like virgin maidens at him. Here, eat this one. Eat this one.
Hey,
you know you're just making the monster stronger.
So I do have a story I'm going to share.
Okay.
This is not a look back. I actually thought about this. I was like, oh, I got to talk about
anger.
I'm like, I got to talk about this on the podcast because it was a weird experience for me. Now,
hey man, this is the 200th episode about the 199 episodes.
But I'm sharing it anyway because it's my podcast and I'll do what I want to do.
You're not the boss of me.
So,
except
okay.
Jesus, I think you're the boss of me.
So some of you guys out there, you know, we make the joke that I'm the sinner and Peyton's the one that's saved. We're both sinners and we're both saved.
Hey,
we're hoping I'm in. But
okay.
Anyway, so here's what happened. Some of you guys out there, you know when God is literally speaking to you. Like, you know, you hear the voice of God or whatever. I have never, before this moment in time, had that kind of a moment. Pretty much not sure what to make of all you guys who say that, right? I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. You could be having a burrito for lunch, and now you're saying you're hearing from God. I have no idea what you're talking about, right? So this is a true story, man. I'm going through.
Now that would be a sound clip to have. Is the one from Ren and Stimpy where he's looking for his fart?
I don't know.
And he goes under the piano chair, and there's this magic nose goblin stuck to the underside. And he goes, "Have you seen?" And he describes it. He doesn't know what a fart is. And he describes it, and his boogers are hanging out, and they have faces. I shouldn't be going here, huh? And one of them goes, you have to, it's a Christmas one. And one of them goes, "Psst, this guy's crazy." This is one booger talking to another. "Psst, this guy's crazy. Talks to his farts." Which is ironic, being that his boogers are talking.
Just gonna leave that one out there.
Come on.
So I'm driving through the drive-thru at McDonald's, And this lady pulls up behind me. And I look at her, and she's got to be, Hispanic, probably Mexican, beat up truck. I mean, it's a beat up, little, like, I don't even know, one of those little trucks, just beat up, right? And she's got like 4 or 5 tricycles in the back of the truck. And I kid you not, I can't remember the pronoun that was used, but I had this flash come through my head of, maybe you should buy her lunch. And I can't remember if it was maybe you should buy her lunch or maybe I should buy her lunch. Like, that's the pronoun. I can't remember which one was used. Right. And it freaked me out. And I was like, okay, so was that God telling me I should buy that lady some lunch, or was that in my own head? Right. Was that just me? Because, I mean, let's face it, I've never had that thought, right, of buying anyone lunch. That's like never been the thought. And I'm like, I'm pulling around, getting ready to place my order, and I'm starting to freak out because I'm like, dude, I can't do this because she's gonna know I bought her lunch, right? I'm in the car right in front of her, and then literally, this is the thought going through my head. Well, what happens if she wants to like say thank you to me? I mean, I don't want to talk to her. I'm like a freaking introvert, right? Like, I don't want her coming up to me. So
you want to be Secret Santa.
I chicken out. I swear to you, I chicken out. So I'm paying for my meal at the window. I chicken out. I'm like, dude, whatever. And it's a 2-window drive-through, so you pay at the first and you go get your food at the second. And that was my fear, right? Because I pay there, and then I'm like, then I got to wait for my turn to get the food, and
yeah.
And so I'm up there at the second window waiting for my food. My food comes out. But before my food comes out, literally, true story, man, she's in the car behind me. She doesn't have enough money. And she drives off. And she has to leave the line. And I felt like about an inch high at that moment. And I was like, seriously, dude? That was God telling me I should do that for that lady. I've never had that thought before, right? Never had like, God spoke to me. Never had one of those. And then that happens. I was like, okay, next time, God, I hear that, I won't argue with it, because what's the worst that happens? Someone says thank you to me. Like, I can't afford $5. Are you freaking kidding me? It was weird, dude. That was the first time that ever happened. And I felt like an inch high.
I told you about that time I did something like that, right? Where I was jogging down the beach and the guy was coming towards me, and God said, tell him I love him. And I was like, no.
Dude, I can tell you that right now. I would have so been like, nope, God, I'm sorry.
He's jogging, I'm jogging, and here's what's happening. I'm jogging towards him. It's on the beach. This is years ago. I was a missionary in Wales, and I was at home on break here. And what's funny is, like, the Spirit was just busting loose in the church there, and everywhere I went, like, ministry was happening, and and so I'm jogging towards this guy, and I look at him, and but not like weird. I just kind of glanced over, and I look, and he's glanced at me, and there's this weird look in his eye, and I'm like, huh. And it wasn't like anything like creepy. It was almost like he was waiting for me to say something to him. It was weird. I don't know how to explain it, but I kept looking back at him. He could look back at me. And then I go past him, and I'm like, the opportunity was there. It was like the atmosphere, even though we were running towards each other, like down the beach, there's 2 guys going for it. It just seemed like I was supposed to say that right then. And I chicken out because, like you, I'm going, is this God? Is it me? Is it, then I start doing that whole, maybe I'm just being weird. And I pass him, and I pass him. And as I pass, I go a couple feet, still jogging, and I look back, and he looks back. There was something, I don't know what it was, man. And then I feel, well, now if I go back, he's going to think I'm gay. So I'm definitely not, hey, dude, chasing after him on the, come back, So I'm like, no. But again, like you, I felt terrible. So I finished my jog, and I'm kicking myself the whole time. And I'm like, God, the next guy I come into contact, next time you say that, I will do it. I go to Staples. Now, I know this sounds stupid, but I bought a paperclip holder because I didn't have one, and I couldn't find
Why do you go to
paperclip
Staples
holder in Wales. there's just certain things we don't have there. And so anyways, I go to Staples, and I think I the one was broken or something. I took it back, was turning it in, and the guy said something about, oh, your card. And I said, it was from Britain. And he's like, oh, what are you doing there? And I said, well, I'm a minister. And he goes, oh, you're a minister? That must be fulfilling. And I started saying something about God. Like I felt God saying, talk to him about me. And I just started talking to him. He breaks down. This is the guy working the cash register, big, giant Mexican dude, as big as Hector Mora, breaks down at the cash register and just starts crying and says, last night, he goes, my parents died, not last night, but he goes, my parents died a few years ago. I work here. I work 2 jobs. I have to take care of my brothers and sisters. They're still in high school. And last night I was trying to make ends meet. Stuff's gotten desperate. And I looked up and I said, God, if you're real, please show me. Please give me a sign. Let something happen to me tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. So he's crying at the supermarket, telling me this whole story. There's people behind me in line, and they're like getting upset. And we're having this conversation, and I was just able to tell him, like, dude, look, he's there. Talk to him. Open your life to him. Open your heart to him. Talk to him. Pour all this on. Boom, boom, boom. I'm giving him as much of the gospel as I can in like 30 seconds because everybody's getting all upset. But, dude, it was powerful, man. I told him, I said, you're right across the street from the church that I used to pastor at, as Refuge Huntington. I said, go across the street. Talk to this guy. Talk to that guy. When you got some more time when you're off work, or ask for me. They'll give you my phone number. So anyways, it was really cool, man. So
yeah,
next time, Pete.
Dude, next time. But I will say this. I don't think I could have done that. Like if someone would have said, I'm not talking about the witnessing part. I'm talking about the tell him God loves him, or tell him, how like Tyrone, every time you talk to him, he'll say, I love you, man. Or he won't even say the man. He'll just say, I love you.
Yeah.
Look, dude, I am way uncomfortable with that. You don't need to tell me you love me. I'm cool, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, I
but
couldn't do
Pete,
that.
I love you.
Shut up, dude. I will just.
No, but I really love you.
No, seriously, knock it off. Like,
it's 200th episode, Pete. It's time. I'm sorry. I'm done. I promise. I'm done. You got to see Pete's face right now. He's not happy.
Just saying, man.
Changing the subject. So Tyrone.
I'm just saying there's like, I couldn't say that. Like if God said to me, say I love you to that person, I'd be like, I would freeze. I would freeze. I would rather. That's all you got to do. When someone says, I love you, just go, No. If God was telling me I needed to say that to them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That would be the funniest thing to watch. You say, God,
I'm just saying it probably wouldn't work for me.
Oh no, dude. It's it's cool. It's baby steps, man. This is a thing. So I got that book coming out, Reaching the Unreached. It's all about this. Cha-ching! It's all about God taking us on a journey in baby steps. He's not going to first time with you. He goes, hey, pay for that lady's food. He's not first time going to be.
Of which I go, what if she says thank you to me?
Yeah.
And I can't do it.
He's not going to tell you in the gym, like, hey, turn to that like power lifter and go, God loves you, man. Like he's not, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a raising of the bar, man, that happens. He's gentle, man. The Holy Spirit takes you a little by little. And there are times he throws in the deep end, but for you, that was your deep end. As you learn to swim more, the deep end gets deeper. That's all. It's a process.
Yeah, so that was the story that I wanted to tell you. I was like, but I learned my lesson, man. I learned my lesson. When she freaking pulled out of line because she couldn't afford it. I was like, dude.
That is crazy, man.
I could have what's $5 to me? And she probably knew she didn't have any money, so she was probably like, Give me a cheeseburger, right?
Yeah. Dude,
I mean,
that's a bummer.
It is. It's a total bummer. And then I was like, if I go chasing her in my Mustang, like, hey, pull over, let me buy you some food. Dude, I'm like, I'm going to jail, man. You know?
Oh man. But you know what? God uses that. That's my point of telling that other story is God uses it, man. It may be more important for you to do it the next time.
Yeah, well, that. I was like, if I hadn't had this experience, then I know the next time I would have had it, right?
Yeah.
Because I've never heard the voice of God. I've never been one of those guys who's like, oh, yeah, I hear it. I've never had that.
That's a podcast we need to do, man. Okay, episode 201. How to know God's talking to you.
If he says, buy Pete some stuff, that's God. If he says, go through Pete's consulting training program, that's God. No? No?
It's the voice you're getting. It's the funniest thing.
Oh, I don't know. So anyway, we should actually
jump school and jump school. That's God.
And everyone's sitting there going, but what exactly is jump school? You and I were talking about something, and he goes, and you go, okay, I definitely called it the wrong thing because like we were lost. We had no idea what we were talking about.
Everybody does it. Everybody's like, jump school. Like it literally, because the course and the DVDs are called the same thing, it's a problem.
Yes, it's a problem.
So marketing 101. So going back to our episodes, and we really got to get to our other stuff, but starting with 13, I thought it was like 16, but it's 13, man. We went through a how-to, and then we got interviews back before hardcore church planning was a thing. We interrupted our series, but it was cool, man. We got like a 3-part series on Walter Martin. That's awesome. We've got a bunch of episodes on step-by-step how to plan a church. We've got man, I'm just looking through. We got the my 5 most embarrassing church planning moments, my 5 best church planning. We did a series of my 5, and those were cool. We used to review the magazine. We should probably get back to doing that. Gosh, man, I'm just looking like that's just in the first 100. We did, so Winner Chicken Dinner is number 105. We did one about transfer growth versus new believer growth. The best church planning books, the celebrity pastor problem, what I wish I knew before I started church planning, how to survive, where are all the prophets, the lonely church planner's wife. Man, I mean, there are just so many good, how to deal with burnout, part 1 and 2. I'm just looking at this going, dang, dude, we did a lot of cool podcasts.
I can tell you what their ranking are because I have that up in front of me. Yeah, you just got to tell me what episode.
And the preaching one. So we asked people to comment on our listeners real quick on what were your favorite ones. And we've got, let's see, Matt Fretwell says the one I was on. Oh, that never happened. Okay, how about the one where you and Pete smack talked until 40 minutes in and then finally got to the subject with 5 minutes left? This isn't helping you, is it? How about the one with the 5 worst days in church planning? The series on preaching was good. Winner Chicken Dinner. That was the one with the dude who's in the wilderness and won the package. That was classic. Too many to name. Great work, guys. Always edifying. And congratulations, Peyton and Pete. Brought me many smiles, laughs, and reflection. And of course, Tyrone says the preaching series, pure gold.
And he's the one who always says, I love you. It bothers me, man. It bothers me. But I can only tell him on the podcast. I couldn't actually say it to him.
What if he said, yeah, because you can't discuss these things. I know you too well. What if he says, hey, like you, man? Is that okay? Or will you be like, I still know what you're thinking.
I'd be like, why are you saying you like me, dude? Seriously. Can't we just say, hey, dude, be a bro? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, do we have to, does the word have to involve an L at the beginning? That's all I'm saying. Like, love, come on. Can't we just Can't we all just get along?
Why can't he just say what you and I always say? Fight the power.
Don't trust Whitey.
That's what you always say.
That is what I always say. Fight the power. Don't trust Whitey. Does that have to be cut now too?
I don't see why. Think you're okay with that one?
I don't know, man, because I got no filter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, best. This last Sunday at church, we had a guy preaching there, and he does something for like the denomination or something like that, right? And so he's preaching on Ephesians, and he's going over wives submit to your husbands, and husbands love your wife as Christ loved the church. He's going over that section, right? And so he's trying to do it as tactfully and, and not like rock the boat and tick off every woman in there and give every guy like this complex of, oh, yes, woman, submit to me kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And we're done. We're walking out of the auditorium, and he's standing there with his wife and then Justin and I just go over and I go, hey, just so you know, man, I looked over at my wife and I just told her, you are so lucky you married me. And they just started laughing. And of course, Jamie is right there with me. And she's like, does not have this pleased face, which is true. I did say that to her in the middle of the sermon.
That's so awesome.
And the guy who was preaching, he goes, yeah, these are the things that we think, but we don't say. And Jamie just goes, yeah, he has no filter. He doesn't know how to turn it off.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
well,
anyway.
hey, my train is making an appearance. If you're new to the podcast, it's kind of like Mr. Rogers, where a trolley comes by, takes us to the land of magical make-believe. And we're about to go there now because we're going to ask some questions. These are our rapid fire questions. So Pete, I don't know how we want to do this, man, but we got some questions on here, a few minutes. And so I'm going to ask you first and just pick out of the list. You can ask me any of these. We'll take turns. If you could have Knight Rider for your car or a Transformer, which one would you pick?
Knight Rider.
See, I knew that, but I did just see a video of a real live Transformer car last night.
But here's the reason. Knight Rider has to do what I tell him to do. A Transformer is its own being. It doesn't have to listen to me. It can do whatever it wants.
Yeah,
I want to wield it like a gun. And I can't do that with the Transformer, but I can do that with Knight Rider.
Point that car at somebody and put the pedal to the metal, Pete.
And I've always wanted a T-top, so,
What is that a car type?
Yeah,
T-top?
That's what it was.
I don't know what that is.
It's all right.
That's Knight Rider.
That's Knight Rider.
Yeah. I don't know why they don't put that light on cars. Just, you know how many they'd sell if they did that?
It's probably...
They'd sell at least two.
They'd probably get sued. I'm sure they'd get sued by somebody. All right, so Peyton, what superhero would you be if you could be any one of them?
That's an irrelevant question because
really is.
I am Batman.
Everyone already knows you'd be Batman.
I am Batman. I'm Batman. Like, it's already done.
I read the next question, and you know what I thought it said? Are you more of a hunter or a transgender? I was like, wait a second, what? It says, are you more of a hunter or a gatherer? I'd say you're a gatherer, and I'd say I'm a hunter.
Really?
Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
I don't even understand the question.
You're the one who put the questions together.
I know, but I knew you'd say hunter for you. I know what that means. I see you as a
gatherer, though. I don't see you as a hunter.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, hunter would be a guy who goes out and gets it. Like, how? I don't know. What does it mean?
All right. What about the next question? Why don't you answer that one?
All right. Lord of the Rings is true in your character. What race are you?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see, I'm still human.
You're a human. Okay.
I'm still the king.
That.
I'm
I'm a total hobbit, dude.
Really?
I'm a total hobbit. Oh, yeah. I'm small. And my destiny is to change the world.
See, here's the thing. Normally, I'd say I'd lean more towards the dwarf because I'm a fighter.
Yeah. A little bit grumpy. Come on. Let's be fair.
Let's be fair. But because they're dwarfs, I can't hang with that, man. I'm like, that's why I'd have to be a human. And
you're not very
ironically,
patient. You're not very patient towards millennials. Then they're elves, and there's this enmity between dwarves and elves.
I'm actually really, really good with a bow and arrow. I'm actually really good at archery.
You're welcome.
What do you mean? You're welcome.
Since I gave Luke that present, it was for Luke, Pete, not for you.
That was awesome, man. That was one of the best gifts ever for kids 8 and up, and he's 5. He's just turning 5. It's perfect.
Pete, you're a new addition to the crown box. What color would you be and why?
Well, I'd be orange.
Of course you would.
Because that's what color I am. Come on.
No.
Come on.
But what colors would you like to be next to? See, I know this. Blue.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that. The first thought that went through my head was blue.
So if you don't know this about Pete's like, it's my blue shirt. It's my white shirt. It's my green shirt. So Pete has colors he knows that he can wear to complement his hair.
You don't understand what it's like for a redhead. We have to match our clothes to our hair. Everyone else who's got black hair, brown hair, blonde hair, or no hair does not deal with this problem. There are colors we cannot wear. Salmon's one of them. Pink's one of them, which is fine with me because I don't really care about pink. Orange, we can't pull off. Reds, we don't pull off. You have to go with like the greens, the blues, the blacks, the grays, the whites. Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
That's awesome.
You don't understand. You don't understand our struggle. You don't understand our pain.
The struggle's real.
The struggle is real. Fight the power. All right, we finished an interview when you step outside the office and find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $10 million. What do you do?
I call up Pete and I go, dude, I'm totally richer than you now. In your face.
That's so funny. That's so funny, man. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, oh yeah, man, if I won the lottery, I'd give you $5,000. He's like, I got a bunch of friends that are like $5,000 friends. I'd give him $5,000. And it's funny because when he was saying that, I'm thinking, dude, if I won like the mega, 400 million, I don't know that I would give you a penny. I don't like that thought, doesn't even cross my mind. Well, I give him money.
She better hope that guy doesn't listen to the podcast.
He doesn't.
Just in case. Sir, the odds of actually winning the lottery, as C-3PO says. Okay, so Pete, this is one that I have talked about for years. And express the musical taste that you have and what I imagine you doing in your car. But what do you think about when you're alone in your car?
I don't usually think when I'm alone in my car. I usually have an audiobook playing, usually more than a podcast because I've got like 15 audiobooks I haven't listened to yet.
Oh, I dig it. That is true. You do listen to a lot of audiobooks in your car. But I imagine you going down the road. I got the power. Ding.
But see, that would be the next question. What's your favorite 90s jam?
Okay, Pete, go for it.
I got the power. Do you remember we did the Francis Chan webinar and we were singing that right as I hit the start broadcast button?
Wasn't that the one where you were doing the Running Man?
I did the Running Man, but I did the Running Man before we started, so no one on the podcast or the webinar saw that.
But I see it because on our original footage, it has you doing it.
No, it's not on there. I know it's not on there.
I've got a video of you doing the running.
You don't have a video of me doing it.
I swear to you. I do.
I'm just
because
saying.
didn't I record on my end?
What do you mean?
Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, but maybe my memory's just remembering it. So seeing Pete do the Running Man just kind of etches itself on your brain permanently.
I think that's all it was.
So Pete, my favorite 90s jam?
Please.
Rage Against the Machine, Wake Up.
Really? I would have thought it was Ice Ice Baby.
That's 80s.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was. I think it was 89.
No, it was not.
Really?
I know
what
90? School I was attending. That was 1990.
Okay. All right. That was slightly off. I thought it was 89, but yeah.
It was the
it was 90. I think it was my senior year.
It was the 90-91 school year.
Yeah. I was a senior. Were you a freshman?
No, a sophomore.
Oh, okay. So if you could be any animal in the world, what animal would you be and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. Man, an animal. I would say I can't narrow it down to just one. I'd have to have a top 5 animals. So if I were in the water, definitely great white shark. I just think that'd be cool. But I would also want to fly. So it'd have to be the biggest, bird. So I'm thinking one of the eagles, something like that. Something where it's like, I'm the top of the food chain. Don't tread on me. That kind of a thing. If I were land-based, like in Africa, I'd have to go with lion. And I don't, maybe that's it. Maybe those are. But then, see, if I were in the Congo, I'd want to be like a silverback gorilla.
Oh,
I'm noticing a theme here. I want to be the top of the food chain. I'm noticing that theme come out in my animals.
You do. See, you are a hunter. I think I am a gatherer. Because for me, I'm like, if I'm in the water, I want to be a sea turtle, man. They just.
Oh my gosh, no.
Oh yeah, I want to be a giant sea turtle because if they're alive, right? They've overcome the odds. Like they're fighters, man. They've survived impossible odds. They're like a fraction of those that are born. They're pretty chill, they're very smart, and they know their place, they know their place in the world, and they brave the waters. They brave an ocean of great whites, and that's pretty cool to me.
But see, I don't know. Do you think the great whites eat turtle?
I don't know, but they're swimming with the sharks, baby.
Turtle soup.
I'm digging it. So, and everybody likes a turtle, right?
If you were a pastry, what pastry would you be?
Ooh, I would be. Oh, that's a tough one, Pete. I love them all. I think I would be. I'd be an almond croissant.
An almond croissant?
An almond croissant, because you know what the croissant is, and that's good. But when you stuff it with like almond paste and roasted almonds, you just feel like you're getting so much more. And
I'd be a bear claw.
Ooh. Little marzipan in there, going with the almond theme, are we?
Just going with it's a bear. Again, it's the king of the food chain.
It totally kicks other donuts' butts.
I'm just saying.
An apple fritter, though.
Nothing's bigger than the bear claw.
Run for its money. They're usually in the same price category. I'm just saying.
Nothing's bigger than the bear claw. I'm just going to throw that out there.
All right. So some of these questions that we have here are really, really stupid. They're about. They're the.
Here's. I got a good one. I got a good one.
All right.
Teach me something I don't know in the next 5 minutes.
That was what I was going to do in the next 5 minutes. Here, I got one better. 5 things people don't know about you, Pete.
Answer mine first.
Teach you something you don't know in the next 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Something you don't know in the next 5 minutes. There are actually candles out there known as mandals that come in bacon smell and tobacco pipe smell and burnished leather smell.
What does British leather smell like?
No, burnished.
Oh, I thought you said British leather. I'm like,
no, but British leather smells like leather in Britain.
I was like, is that like an old man or something? It's got old man smell. What are you saying?
Yeah. So 5 things people don't know about you.
5 things people don't know about me. Well, I can't tell you because then you'd know it.
Well, this is the unveiling 200th episode.
Yeah, I actually, the very first thought I had go through my head, I was like, I can't share that with the public. I was like, literally, that was I was like, what am I, crazy? I'm not telling them that.
Yeah, don't tell that one.
That one's out. So, I'm finishing up my taxes for 2015.
I did not know that about you.
Because October 15th is right around the corner, and
that's when they're due.
That's when my extension is up.
Oh, wow.
So
you're going to be really grumpy in the next few weeks.
No, I'm actually fine. I'm cool because
you're cool with it.
I'm cool with it because I actually have the money to pay the taxes. When I don't have the money, that's when I'm like stressed. But
okay. So what other things? You can go for a couple. You don't have to go for 5.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say. We talk about a lot on the podcast.
I know. Well,
People may not
so
know this
what is
about me,
not
but
commonly known about you, perhaps? Maybe not the first time reveal.
I'm crazy. I'm crazily conservative.
You are, yeah. But yet, you are not linked to any political party.
No, I'm not. And I'm really upset that this year I have to do a write-in candidate. I think Alan Keyes is getting a vote for me again.
Okay, so here's a couple things people don't know about me. I watch a lot of girly shows with my wife. That's one. I know all my street cred went out the window just then, but I can live with that. Watch a lot of girly shows. Caught some Gilmore Girls the other night with the wife. There are certain places I draw the line, though. I'm like, no, I'm not watching this one or that one. But usually it started with like, she goes, hey, come here, lay down. I'll rub your back. Hey, and then you're like, what's going to happen to Lorelai after a couple episodes, So that's one.
What's funny is I used to watch that show with Jamie too. She goes, I thought you didn't like this. I'm like, I just want to know what Luke's going to do. All right, back off.
Dating Jesse again. So that's not commonly known.
And I would totally live in Stars Hollow. I will say that. I would totally live there.
Oh, dude, so would I. It's actually Universal Studios. So let's see. What else? Not commonly known. My grandfather was a best-selling Civil War author. Lived on the edge of a battlefield, and they actually made a TV show in the 60s off of one of his books called The Gray Ghost, and he's actually in the credits as the historic advisor.
Did he get paid a lot for that?
No, he did not. He did not. And let's see, what else is not commonly known about me? Although people know I'm a geek, and I'm pretty open about that. I actually am I used to be. I haven't done this in years. But I am a skilled modeler. So the stuff you see people do in Hollywood, where they build like models for like movies and stuff, I am skilled enough to do that. And a couple years ago, I almost took a contract with Hasbro and to do for trade shows, to do models, which can pay up to $7,000 a piece. And I worked out how much time it would take me and how many I'd have to do a year as a tent making ability. And I said, nah. And so that's us done.
That is us done. And we better hurry up and go to our next interview. So let me ask you real quickly. Are you a math pastor?
I am not.
Well, I think you need simplifychurch.com. Why don't you head on over there and they can take care of all of your payroll, accounting, bookkeeping, insurance, web design, everything. They make your church simple.
I will. Thanks, Pete.
All right.
Guys, that has been the 200th episode, and we're in a hurry to get the heck out of here because we got another interview coming up. Typical Church Planter Podcast. We got to go, and we wasted a lot of time today, but it was intentional. Guys, thanks for joining us today. This has been the Church Planter Podcast for the 200th episode. Reminding you, if you want to reach the ones no one's reaching, don't listen to us. Go where nobody's going and do what nobody's doing.
You have failed me for the last time.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Church Planter Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Peyton Jones. We'd love to hear your comments on this episode of the Church Planter Podcast. Visit us online and let us know what you thought at churchplanterpodcast.com. If you subscribe to us via iTunes and have enjoyed the podcast, leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive in iTunes, the more iTunes will promote us to other church planners who would benefit from this show. This podcast is brought to you by the Church Planter Magazine, which is available in the iTunes newsstand or online via churchplantermagazine.com.